I have been fighting burnout for a couple of months and I finally feel like I am getting over the hurdle. But I do know I have a pretty intense reading month coming up since I am co-hosting Escape the Readathon in May, which I'll leave the announcement to down below. It's a competitive team-based readathon if you want to join. Join Team Hackers, we are going to win. And so in order to help myself, I've decided just to mood read this week, which is kind of something wild for me. I don't normally just do a vlog like this where I can pick up whatever I want. My vlogs are typically very much like something helps me pick what I'm going to read and things like that. So we're gonna see if I like this. We're gonna experiment a little bit. My idea is to mood read the books that I'm super excited for. And so I'm starting with 2 buddy reads. I have both of these planned out to read simultaneously, which is also kind of weird for me. I'm normally a one book person and then another book person. But I have started On Wings and Blood, which I am buddy reading with Mel from Melonor Reads. This one I picked up due to it blowing up on TikTok and we've been really excited about it. I know it's a academy setting and that's pretty much the only thing I know about it. I did pick it up this morning. I read the prologue and the first chapter and I'm not gonna lie, I'm confused. Last night when Mel started it, she was texting me and she was like, did you know that this is a sequel series, that it actually exists in like the same world as another series? And I was like, no, I didn't. She's like, yeah, I'm really getting the vibes that there's things that we have been told in the other series. And I was like, oh no. And as I read the first chapter, I completely agree. I feel overwhelmed. I feel like I was dumped into the middle of a story. I don't really understand the first chapter. It reads like a prologue to me because we're trying to be very mysterious of our characters in it. I feel like a first chapter needs to do a couple things. It needs to suck me in terms of the character. I want to understand the character that I'm in right away because that is so important to my enjoyment in a story. It also needs to leave mystery and intrigue and also needs to set up the world and the setting. I only think this one did like intrigue. I personally don't know a single thing about our main character besides that she thinks she's a carrot. Okay. She doesn't actually think she's a carrot, but she says she has red hair. And so she's like, sometimes I think of carrots when I see my red hair. Which, does the author not have red hair? Because I feel like anyone with red hair is not thinking that ever. Probably the opposite. You're probably bullied and told you're a carrot and you don't want to think like carrots at all. So yeah, there's that. But I just feel like it was very mysterious, which didn't really work for me. I don't really understand the world. I don't understand the characters. And I don't think our main character knows who she is or where she is or anything like that. And that doesn't always work the best for me. So I'm a little scared. Also, I told you I thought it was a school setting and this first chapter doesn't mention a school at all. Neither did the prologue. So a little confuzzled, but hopefully it'll get better. I'm literally only a chapter in, so I'm still hoping that I will enjoy it. The writing is iffy for me. It feels debut-ish, but it is not a debut. The dialogue is a little stinted, that's for sure. And the formatting is kind of weird. Anyways, I'm hoping that I'll like this as I go on. I'm hoping that I get sucked into it. People do say that the male love interest apparently is Spoonworthy. He's like real enemies to lover style, lots of good banter. So I am excited for that. So I'm hoping we get there and then all of a sudden I have no issues with the book anymore because I'm just having a really good time. The second book I'm going to be reading is This Woven Kingdom. I haven't started this one, but I will be starting it today because I'm buddy reading it with 2 of my patrons and my friends, Maria and Nikki. I knew I wanted to read this when last year Erin from Booked and Busy, I feel like I'm name dropping a lot of people. Oh my god, so sorry. When Erin talked about it on her channel, because I'm a watcher of Erin's channel and was like obsessed with this series, that's when I knew I needed to pick this one up. And I have been dying, waiting for the perfect time to pick it up. And I guess today's the day. But we are going to see how much reading I actually get done because I'm actually in a binge watch of the show From. Because Mel convinced me to watch it and I am starting season 2 even though I started season 1 pretty much 2 days ago. So I'm going to be binge watching that. I'm going to do my favorite TV sprints, which is I watch an episode of TV and then I have to read a chapter of a book and then so forth. I think that's my plan for today. I have bad news. I've decided to DNF on Wings of Blood. It was not working for me. The writing style, not it. It's dialogue heavy and descriptive heavy, but in a way where it just talks about the colors of things. Like we said, the grapes were green and the pomegranates were red and the plums were purple, and she told us that every vampire had silver hair every time we meet a vampire vampire, we talk about their silver hair again. And I just don't understand. It's not necessary for you to tell me that a pomegranate is the perfect shade of red unless that's necessary to the story itself. And it can add atmosphere and description, but when it's overly done, it doesn't work for me. And it would just be like that, like would have paragraphs of describing the colors of things and then just have 3 pages of dialogue that was not well written in my opinion, and also was all info dumping dialogue. It was like, you're dumb, I have to tell you every little thing about this. And I'm not someone who hates info dumping and dialogue. I actually tend to prefer it, especially in a school setting. I think it makes sense that we go to class and the teacher tells us things, but the way it was done just was not working for me, especially because it felt like every page that was happening on, it wasn't just like in class. It was like anytime we talked to any character, they info dumped in their dialogue to us. And there wasn't much more to the characters than that info dumping. And I made it to page 80. I didn't quit too early on. I mean, page 80 on my Kindle. I gave it a good attempt, but it just not vibing for me. It might vibe for other people. I am not... Writing can get to me sometimes, for sure. It gives me House of Night vibes if they had dragons as well, and more fantastical, but I loved House of Night, so I don't know if that comp is really that good because this is not working for me and I'm DNFing it. So I am going to be moving on to buddy reading my pages of This Woven Kingdom, and then Mel and me are pivoting and we're going to buddy read the new SM Gaither that came out as well, so I'll probably start that one. But my next update should be on This Woven Kingdom. Also, I finished my genre blanket, well, not finished, I caught up to my genre blanket. I was definitely behind, but my From obsession, I told myself I could only watch From if I was still doing something, and I've let myself just like binge watch it. So a thing that was easy to do was my genre blanket, and I am loving how it's turning out this year. I feel like the colors are really just like a vibe, and I like the stitch. I feel like it's really, really working for me. I'm really liking it. So that's exciting because I feel like other years I haven't really enjoyed that much. So yeah, this is what it looks like so far. It's got some decent width to it already. Just being like a quarter into the year, I think it'll be a good size. Very, very happy with how it's looking, so that's exciting. So I am gonna go back to watching From, and since I'm done with that, I either need to start another crochet project, but actually what really needs to be done is I need to hang up my clothes that are all just over the basement that are clean. I just have a chair full of clean clothes right now that needs to be dealt with, and I will continue doing what I call TV sprints, which means I watch an episode of TV, and then I read a chapter, and then I watch an episode of TV, and then I read a chapter, and if I like a book, I tend to read more than one chapter because I get like sucked in. So this is how I allow myself to binge TV but still read, because otherwise I will get way too obsessed with one hobby and forget about all the other hobbies. And yes, I'm counting watching TV as a hobby. It's good for my brain sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes I think it is. I accidentally read way more than I meant to of This Woven Kingdom last night. I'm actually 60% into the book. I definitely meant to update you around like 25-30%, but all of a sudden I was just coloring and I looked down and I was like, oh crap, I've read way more than I thought I would. A good thing I got tired because I probably would have just finished the book. It's interesting because I've had opposite experience in a lot of my friends. I'm buddy reading this with 2 of my friends and they were doing the audio and they ended up liking physical more. For me, the first chapters were a little bit more of a drag for me. Even though I did like them, I didn't like the physical book as much. I was definitely struggling with it. It was taking me longer to read, and then I switched to the audiobook because my library had it, and I flew through 50% of the book in one sitting. It could be for me that it's Kate Redding who narrates it, and I find Kate Redding very familiar. I've listened to a lot of audiobooks that she's done, a lot of fantasy audiobooks that she's done, and I find her voice just very normal for me. I guess, I don't know, like I can speed her up quite a bit because I'm used to everything. I understand the connotations in her voice very well, like what things mean when she talks in certain tones, because I've listened to so many audiobooks with her. I've just picked up a lot of her speaking patterns. So I personally am enjoying the audiobook, but the writing is definitely a little bit more technical, not as flowy in my opinion, which I think worked better for me in audio format. So yeah, I like the audiobook, but my friends felt the opposite. So I think to each their own and what they prefer in audiobooks. But I am enjoying the story. I'm not loving it, which is funny because I flew through 60%. It's sitting at like a 3 or a 4 star for me currently, depending on where the ending goes. But I do really like the world building. I just want more from the story currently than what we were getting. But where it ended last night, I feel like I was really interested. So that's always a good sign, because the first 50% 60% is set up in a fantasy trilogy typically. Essentially, we're following our main character who is a djinn, and the djinn are being eradicated by the humans, so she has to hide who she is, and she does this by being a servant who covers her eyes because her eyes would give her away as a djinn, and the servants all have to wear something that covers their eyes. I think because they're not allowed to look on people of a higher status, but that could be me making things up. I don't necessarily know that much about this culture and stuff, but I thought that was really interesting. I liked learning about the culture in the book. I like learning the different world building, and so we're following her as she just tries to live her life and survive. She's just trying to survive, but there's a prophecy that she will take down the kingdom, and when she's found out, things start to unravel in her life of survival. She's also visited by the devil often, which I thought was really interesting. My only big complaint about this, besides the slowness of the story, is that I went into this expecting a YA romantasy, and so far I don't think it's been that. It's very much just YA fantasy, which most YA fantasy is in aspect a romantasy, but this doesn't necessarily feel like that. But also that's personal preference, personal interpretation, and maybe I will feel like that as the story really moves on. We just haven't really gotten a lot of romance at this point. I like both characters that we've read from. I think both of their perspectives are interesting. They add more to the story. They add depth to the story. You understand both sides a little bit, which I always find interesting, especially when you know that one side is wrong and one side's right. Seeing both sides and seeing how someone can be indoctrinated into that side always works well for me, as you then get to see them slowly make the change to the right side, because fear and propaganda is a real thing and it's used against us constantly, and people are fooled by it constantly, and they are terrible things. That's all. Yeah, that's my little rant. So I don't know, I'm enjoying this. It's so easy to read, in my opinion. Well, easy to listen to. I was struggling physically, but easy to listen to and fast. Even though it's slow, it's like a fast listen. I feel like I'm contradicting myself so many times, but this is just how I feel about this book. So those are my initial thoughts. I don't think I have a lot of thoughts. That's also why I just flew through it without any updates, is I didn't have a lot of thoughts. I'm just kind of listening to it and enjoying it for what it gives to me. But I do like the conversation on privilege and stuff as well. There is a scene where our male character doesn't understand how someone could act like this one little thing that they lost is like the end of the world, and they are told by someone else that if you have nothing, everything you have feels like everything if you can't just go and replace it. And the conversation that was had about this main character's privilege was very interesting to me. I really enjoyed that. I think that there's going to be some heavy hitting parts of the story for sure. Since I did go ahead of the buddy read, I needed to pick up another book because I was not supposed to get to 60%. So I'm waiting for Maria and Nikki to catch up. And in the meantime, Fairy Loot announced these stunning editions of the Caraval series, and I have never read it. Neither has my friend Mel, and we were looking for another buddy read after we DNF'd the one earlier in this video. So we've decided to pick up Caraval. I'm only on chapter 2 and I might DNF it. I think we're gonna try and give it to when she gets to Caraval. It's just very, very, very YA leaning for me. It is intriguing. I don't like hate the writing, but I just don't love this young of YA these days. I do really like YA. It's something I enjoy. This Woven Kingdom is YA. This one just feels very young, and that's not like my preference anymore. I like a little bit of an older YA story these days, so I'm not sure. I know this is so beloved, and I think there's a reason for that. I just don't know if I, at the ripe old age of 27, am the audience for it anymore, especially having not read it as a younger person. I don't really have the nostalgia or anything. Like, some things definitely have nostalgia, like House and Night for me has nostalgia. That's the only reason I still liked it. I'm gonna update you, but don't be surprised if it's a DNF. People are home today, so please just ignore any sounds you hear. If I have to wait all around for things to be quiet, I'll be waiting all day long. I normally try to film in hours of people sleeping or when people aren't home, but it's just not working out today because I ended up staying out way too late last night. I'm exhausted. I'm doing a no makeup day. My skin just kind of needs it. We had a very busy day. Nick and me ended up going with our two friends, Destiny Landon, who you've probably seen before. They're on my channel decent enough. They're on vacations and stuff with me, to tacos for lunch. And then we went to a bin place for Goodwill, which is essentially a liquidation place for Goodwill, which is you can donate to Goodwill Goodwill, and then it goes into like essentially a thrift store for like very, very cheap. But if it doesn't make it through Goodwill, like if no one purchases it, it goes into this liquidation place and you can get things, I think it's like 50 cents a pound or something. So like very, very cheap, but you're just like digging in these buckets and things like that. Nick wanted to try and thrift some shirts and stuff. So that's where we were. And then we ended up playing games with Destiny Landon. We played a new game called Decrypto, which I think is a lot of fun. If you've played Codenames before or the game Codebreaker, it's kind of a mix of the two of them. I think it's a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with it. So definitely check this one out if you like games like this. It's pretty simple, but like still fun and strategic, which is always a good game for when you're playing games with people who don't love long games, I guess. Reading wise, I have a few updates. I DNF'd Caraval. Literally did not pick it up since I last updated you. Didn't have a want to pick it up. Decided that that was probably reason enough to just DNF if I was not vibing already. The chances of me vibing later on, slim. Very, very slim. And I didn't have a lot of interest in Caraval in general. I just really like these special editions. So I was like, what if I love it? So saving my money, not getting the Fairy Loot special editions, and DNFing Caraval on like chapter 2. So sorry to you who love it. It just didn't work for me. Still reading This Woven Kingdom. My buddy read is completed, but I'm still at the last place I updated you. Also, why do I look like Rudolph right now? It's fine. Sorry, I got distracted. I need to finish that. I need to listen to the audiobook. I just did not read yesterday at all. So I should have probably finished it yesterday, but reading just didn't happen. It was a hangout day. Next up, I did start another book because I wanted to have a physical book going, and one of my patrons, Emmy, this is like the buddy read video. I'm just doing so many buddy reads, which is, I feel like I do a bunch of buddy reads at once and then none for a while. So this is how my life rolls. I said I was struggling to figure out what I wanted to read, and so she just like messaged in my Patreon Discord and said, these are 3 books I'm thinking about starting next. If you're interested in one, I'd love to buddy read. And so I was like, okay, let me try a chapter test. I'll try all 3 of them. I'll put them on the screen because I don't remember what they are right now. And I will get back to her and tell her which one I want to buddy read with her, or if I don't at all. I ended up only reading one first chapter, and I was intrigued, and I was like, let's read this one. So I started Blood and Betrayals, which is a dark academia romantasy. I am 8% in. I'm a little bit scared because it's kind of long. The Kindle edition is 1,000 pages. I think the paperback is 700. I'm a little worried that there's a lot of fluff in this. It seems a little slice of lifey right now. However, the first couple chapters, banger. Like, sucked me right in. A good first chapter is needed, and like the world building is kind of cool. At first I was hesitant because I don't typically love any like Camelot, Merlin inspired things, mostly because I find that they're not actually retellings or anything. Most of the time they just like to use the word Merlin to be like, oh, this big sorcerer. And they're kind of doing it in this one, but then they're also using other things like Dracula as a big name in this. And I think that they've done it a way to make their really expansive world building also feel somewhat familiar, because essentially there's a bunch of realms in this. We're in one realm, which is the school setting, and then there are locked realms, lost realms, regular realms, all these things. And so like the vampires have their own realm that was ruled by Dracula, and the Fae have a realm, and they have a lost realm, and there's all this like really crazy world building happening, and we're getting a lot of it in talking through the school setting, but also I'm not hating it. It feels well done in those elements. I'm just a little bit worried about the slice of life stuff. We're seeing her and her new bestie really just like hang out. We saw her get dressed today, things like that I'm a little bit like, why was that necessary? But I'm vibing still, and if the vibes are vibing, the reads are reading. So we're gonna continue on, give it a little bit more. If it feels too long, I will DNF. I'm trying to be better at DNFing things that are dragging for me, but maybe I'll just fly through the 1,000 pages. Also, I saw a PR copy, and I want that. I don't know how to get it because I think it was just a PR box that went out, but I want it. It's kind of hard to find an angle that looked half decent, but you could also stare at Miley with. She's just so cute. Why would you not want to look at her? It literally took me 30 minutes to find this angle, and you just get up? That's actually so rude. Okay, let's actually go to a nice angle then. Not gonna lie, last night I was like, do I even like romantasy anymore? I have decided to DNF another book. This vlog is just me DNFing things. I got 10% into this book, which for a 1,000-page book is a decent way in my opinion. And honestly, I just realized I wasn't hating my time, but the characters are cardboard cutouts. I thought the writing was not good. I did not like the writing. It was very much like, what is she wearing, what she looks like, a little bit more like 2000s paranormal style. Not my preferred type of writing. I think that the world building was really interesting, but that's the only thing I cared about. The relationship, the most insta-lovey thing ever, on like page 30 of a 1,000-page book they've already made out. That's not slow burn enough for me. He's obsessed with her at this point. I just couldn't do it. I just like, although I'm like not having the worst time, this is going to be a 3-star read. I'm not going to give it 5 stars. Why am I reading an 1,000-page book that I keep thinking, why am I still reading this book? Like, it could be a fun time, good vibes book, but I'm not necessarily always a good vibes reader. And like, if I don't like the writing, it's never going to be a 5-star read for me. It could be like a 3-star fun time read, but it's definitely never going to be the next new favorite. And at this point, I'm looking for next new favorites. Like, I don't need to be wasting time. If it was 200 pages, I probably would have finished it, but 1,000 pages? I'm kind of annoyed because I just wanted this to be me mood reading, and I was like, because I'm mood reading, I have no expectations. I am going to get all of the best books. I'm going to read 5-star after 5-star after 5-star. Obviously not the case. I can't be trusted to make my own decisions. That's why I play little games. However, after I DNF, whatever this book is called, Blood and Betrayals, I picked up an arc of another book and I've already cried. This morning in bed, I was bawling. I didn't get a clip of it because it was like first thing woke up and I like literally went to bed and I was dreaming of this book. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. You have to hear me talk about it first. I was dreaming of this book. Like, I read 4 chapters and I was like, okay, I'm tired. I need to go to bed before I get more sucked in. So I go to bed and I'm like literally dreaming of like what I think could happen next. You know, that's a good book. And then I wake up this morning, I turn around and I open my Kindle and I start reading and I start crying because of where I left off. This book is going to be 5 stars. I feel it in my bones. Knock on wood. There's no wood around me. Knock on the air. Someone fingers crossed for me that I'm not jinxing myself. But Silver Elite is going to be the next romantasy book. I'm calling it now. I'm gonna give this 5 stars. This already feels so incredible. This is why I was DNFing those books. This is the reason that we read. Some easy comparisons for me are like The Hunger Games and Red Queen. They're not real comps. Like, there's nothing that's like, oh, if you like this, then read that. They just have like some similarities in concepts and themes for me. Okay, in this world, there was a toxin that was bombed and 2 types of people came from it. Primes, who were immune from the toxin, or mods who were given enhanced abilities because of the toxin. And now there's a war. They're like split in half. The primes are currently on top. They're leading. However, power corrupts. The circle is always revolving. And at one point, the mods were definitely on top and they were doing bad things to the primes, and that's how the primes got on top. Things like that. Like, it's a circle of hatred. Hate is such a crazy thing. Fear is such a crazy thing, in my opinion, that makes people do unspeakable things, and that's why I like books like this when they talk about that. Anyways, back to the synopsis. The primes are currently on top and our main character is a mod, and she has to go undercover, hide her abilities as a mod, try not to fall in love with her commander who's really hot on top of her, and try to take down the system that is the primes. So I feel like it gives me Hunger Games vibes in terms of the capital. Not close to that, but just the fact that there are people on top and like how the towns and stuff are run, it just really gave me the concept of the rebellion and power corrupting and things like that, which is heavy themes in the Hunger Games. And then Red Queen with like the power abilities and things like that, like when they use their powers as mods, their blood in their arms specifically glow like silver, so that's how people know they're using their powers. So mods tend to keep their arms covered because they don't want people to know they're using their powers and stuff. And that just reminded me of Red Queen with like the red blood versus silver blood. They're not real comps, but both of Red Queen and the Hunger Games talk about like rebellion and power corrupting and things like that and all of that. And I think that this book is going to hit those same themes for me. And so I'm very, very, very excited. I am not far in. I am only, I think, 50 pages in. I'm 11% in. And I'm obsessed. I can't wait to keep reading. I am still reading This Woven Kingdom. No updates yet on that one. It's my audiobook now, so it'll probably be finished throughout this vlog. At the very end. Oh, now you come back? You wanted to say hi? Say hi. Miley, look at the camera. Look at the camera. I finished This Woven Kingdom. I finally reached the end, and so we can review it. I liked this book. I didn't love it. I think, again, I had opposite feelings than my friends that buddy read this with me. They all liked the second half more. Like, the ending really piqued their interest, and they found the first half very, very slow. And yes, it was slow, but in the end, I ended up liking the first half, probably like 20% to 60% the most. And then the ending really lost me and lost my attention. I think I will continue and give give book 2 a try, but I don't know. I think I wanted this to be something other than it is. I wanted a book that really talked about privilege and politics and society. I really enjoyed this first half because I liked seeing her day-to-day struggles, and I liked when they had moments with the prince where he had to realize his privilege and things like that. And I feel like I kind of lost those in the second half because it was just blind love at that point. It felt very insta-lovey for me, and I didn't really like their interactions that much because of that. I felt like they were kind of bland and one-dimensional because they were just insta-love. Like, they didn't even get to know each other at all. Specifically on his end, he was just infatuated with her for no reason, really, and I just didn't vibe with that. But I definitely wanted the second half to be a little bit more action heavy after the slow first half. I wanted it to be more pulling punches about the politics and stuff. I feel like every reveal happened just very quickly. It's hard to talk about because I want action-packed, I want fast-paced, but I also want substance to those reveals. And I feel like this was not action-packed. It was not like bang, 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 but it was really quick with reveals, and I feel like we didn't get time to like sit with them and really think of our thoughts and our feelings. I feel like it was pretty predictable too. I don't know if I liked the writing style that much in the end. I feel like it was a little bit matter-of-fact for me. I'm settling on a 3-star with like the idea that I still want to continue because I am intrigued by the world building that was created. I am intrigued if we get some of that conversation on the privileges, which we did get. Those were my favorite parts of these books. Like those scenes where he had to sit with his thoughts and be like, wow, I'm part of the problem. That was my favorite part completely. And so I want more of that. And I think we could get more of that in book 2. I'm not excited about the ending. I'm not excited about the like new character we got, which I think a lot of people are interested to see how I feel about book 2. It's one of those ones that I feel like could really go up, or I could just feel mid about completely. So I do need to give book 2 a try, I think. And I liked how different this felt than a lot of things I read. I will say that I feel like there was a different type of world building in it that I really, really enjoyed. There's a lot of elements of this that I did enjoy. I just was not obsessed. And I think that's why it took me so long. Once I got past the part that I really, really liked, the latter half just took me so long because I kept just wanting to turn it off because I was kind of bored. But the part that I did like, I read in one sitting. So like that part was incredible for me. I think it had 4-star parts and 2-star parts, and I'm settling on a 3-star for it. Okay, but in other news, we can go back to talking about the book that I'm loving. I cannot get over how much I'm having such a good time with Silver Elite. I'm on chapter 19, so 36% in, and I am turning the pages. I found it hard to go to sleep last night. I found it very hard to get out of bed this morning. I normally read in bed. I get up around 8 and then I read till like 9 and then I get up at 9. I did not get out of my bed till 10 because I wanted to keep reading, so I read a little bit more. I think I was wrong with my comparison game for this earlier. I said it reminded me of the Hunger Games. Scratch that. You did not hear that from me because that's false. The more I get into the book, it is definitely Divergent coded. If you were a Divergent girly, check this out. Luckily for me, I was all of those. I loved Hunger Games, I loved Divergent, I loved Twilight, there was another one that I don't remember, but you know, that was me. I was obsessed with those, and I'm equally obsessed with them at the ripe age of 27. I'm really, really enjoying this. I do think it's a little bit predictable and a little bit repetitive, so that has its issues for me. I can overlook those and still give it a 5-star, I think, so that's exciting for me, but definitely those are things I'm noticing. I also have times where it like kind of skips over something that I'm really interested in. Like we had a training opt that we just kind of like faded to black for, and then we were back and doing something else. But overall, I'm intrigued. I think it's going to be predictable. I'm not going to say it's not, but I feel like all of these in some aspect for me are. Like when reading Divergent, you knew what she was, like, you know? So I think there are elements that are going to be predictable, but I'm hoping there's also elements that twist for me and shock me. But overall, I'm just having a good time with the writing and like enjoying the story. I keep wanting to read it. I like seeing her kind of have to figure out what she wants and who she is outside of what she's been branded with, the freedom that she's now going to be given, what that means for her, the choices she's going to make, who she's going to become. Those are things that I'm really looking forward to reading. I really kind of want his POV, but I understand why we don't, because I think it's the thing that I'm predicting. But I love when they're together. They have the best banter for me. There's also a secondary guy who I really, really, really like. He's obviously not endgame for me, but like if this turned into a why choose, like I ain't gonna be mad. I don't don't think it does though. But even if we just have a friendship with him the entire time, I really like him. I think we do have some friendships forming, which is always interesting for someone in a place full of people who absolutely hate you and would kill you if they knew who you were. How do you make friendships with them when they think you're a monster and you don't believe in their same ideologies? I think that this is relatable to our society in some aspects. When people have things that are so different than your beliefs, you can just think of them as a bad person without really thinking about propaganda and things like that. We have propaganda in our society like crazy. Let's not pretend we don't. So books like this, I think, make it feel very extreme, so you really understand that this character has been bred to feel the way they feel, to think the way they think, that they have been told this by society and that they don't actually understand or realize. And I think that this is something really amazing about reading, is when you read things like this, if you think about it for a second, it's reflection on our society, and it may not be to that point of extremism right now, but it definitely still happens where like people have the same viewpoints as their family members and their family members, and they didn't really do the research. They've just been told these like lies, or like the news force feeds us like certain timelines or like opinions. So we definitely do have propaganda. We definitely are believed to believe things because of our government institutions and things like that. So I love reading about things like this because I just think it's like a mirror in some aspects of our reality, and when you think about it, it can help you kind of understand things and society and like other people. Like you can understand why someone might see something different than you and maybe help explain it to them, or be a little bit more caring when you're trying to make people understand. There are things that like it's just a no, but I do think that this always does a really good job of making you feel for people who have been under propaganda. That's all. I kind of just rambled. I love books like this so much. It's a dystopian fantasy romance, so I'm very, very excited to keep reading. So I'm gonna go do that. I'm 44% in and I'm literally obsessed with this book. Obsessed. So much so that I have been screaming into my Discord into a void because I haven't told anyone what I'm reading. So it kind of feels a little bit cruel because I'm just like, oh my god, I love this book. It's incredible. And I told them that I think that I could claim this probably is going to be the next Fourth Wing. It just has this feeling of like easy bingeableness, but also some nostalgia elements to it. Fourth Wing has elements that remind me of some of my childhood favorite stories, but for a older generation. Silver Elite also does. As I said earlier, it's got the Divergent vibes. I still see a little bit of Hunger Games and stuff like that, but it feels older. It feels like it's matured a little bit. It feels like a fantasy romance more than just a YA fantasy, but it's so fucking good. Technically, this is a dystopian story. It is not actually a fantasy romance. It is our world. I am obsessed with it. I love their banter. Any moment of the two main characters together, I am eating it up. I love their like will they, won't they, and like hot and coldness. It works really well. Yes, they have some insta attraction, but I think it's done and handled very, very well, because yes, they both think each other is hot, but they have reasoning behind all of it, and I think it works so well for their characters. I feel like I really like the characters. I really like the conversations in this. Maybe it's moving a little too fast, even though I'm 44% in. I wish we had taken a little bit more time with some of the side characters, even though I love the side characters quite a bit. Honestly, I am seeing a 5-star in my future. I just had to tell you that I'm loving this book. There are some lines I've been highlighting, whether it's emotionally devastating, whether it's like a conversation on propaganda and status and power corrupting and things like that, or whether it's a banter line being said. This book has made me go from, oh my god, I'm so obsessed, I love this, I'm obsessed, just sleep with him already, to horrified at what I just read within chapters of each other constantly, and I love those feelings. Especially back to back. They're just like a high and then a low and then a high and then a low, and it just works. It just works. Read this. Read this. Oh my god. It's so fucking good. I'm like 55% in and I'm struggling because like I want to keep reading, but I also don't want the book to ever end. Like I'm literally obsessed with the way they talk to each other. Obsessed with this slow burn. It's so slow burn. It's so good. Oh my god. Might be my favorite book of the year. And I'm not even done it yet. Consumed in pretty much one sitting, I have just read my favorite book of the year. That was so good. There are some complaints I have about it, but the page turning aspect of it, the nostalgia aspects of it, the banter, the like feisty main character. The only time that I was like, is this not my favorite book of the year, was when she made one very obviously stupid mistake and it made no sense to me. There's one thing that she does and I was just like, girl, you're dumb. But her entire personality is to be impulsive and not think think things through, which is very relatable to myself. So like, it still made sense for her character. It was just a very dumb thing to do, but it needed to be done to progress the plot forward. And I'm still giving it 5 stars. It still gives me Divergent meets Fourth Wing with a little bit of Hunger Games. And I'm not even processing. This is why I don't read arcs ever, because the book is not out yet when I read this. It's out, I think, May 2nd. I have the first edition pre-ordered now, and I need to get my hands on it. It's out May 2nd, but like, I now have to wait a full year before I get my hands on book 2. That's why I don't read arcs. I don't want to read them early, because it just means I have to wait longer. But maybe I can get my hands on an advanced reader copy of the second book somehow. I don't know. I need it. I need it tomorrow. If the author would kindly like to send me a first draft of it for the second book, I volunteer as tribute to read it first. Listen, if she just wants to share her like Google Doc with me that I can just like creep on as she's writing, count me in. Count me in. I loved this. Please read it. Please, 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 please. I'm begging you. Well, maybe I want to gatekeep it so it can be my favorite book. I mean, it's too late. Too late. You know I won't gatekeep for you. Although I did gatekeep for the last 2 days with my patrons, and they're probably raging at me, and I should probably go tell them what the book is now. Both so that they have like early access to my favorite book of the year. Actually, it's gonna go on Instagram. I need to make a reel. I need to scream about this everywhere. Every fucking where. I loved this. I loved this. I loved this with my soul. My whole soul. If you feel like picking it up, let me know if you loved it. And if you didn't, stay out of my comment section. I don't want to hear it. Sometimes I do, but currently, I don't want to hear it. Maybe give me a week to think past my feelings. Like right now, I'm just in, this is the best work of art that I've ever read, and nothing can ruin it. You know? You know. Oh, back to like an actual, I guess, like real review about it. I will say that you don't really know a lot about him personally, and I do wish we got a little bit more depth into his character. I think it is coming, but I think that this feels more dystopian with romance, not like a romantic dystopian, even though it still is, because really the primary aspect of this story is her and her path and her journey and her realizations along the way. He is there and he helps in her journey or makes it harder or things like that, but like their relationship to me was never the core point of this story. The story was her and the rebellion and the mods and the primes and all of that. The war going on was the point of the story, and her. He was just like an extra piece of eye candy for us. Yeah, 5 stars for me. Favorite book of the year, I think, so far. If you ask me on a different day, it could be a different book, but like currently is my favorite book of the year. So there you go. That is the end of this vlog. The next vlog will be for Escape the Readathon. I'll leave some videos on the screen for you to check out if you'd like to continue watching my channel, and I hope you enjoy me reading my favorite book of the year.